Hi, my name is Nick Bryant, and today I'm going to do a little code tutorial, show you a little bit of basic JavaScript. This is for people who are just getting started, I guess. So I'm going to show you how to code with a terminal. So I'm using Mac OS X. Okay, so I use the iTerm2 terminal, and that's how I code. So this term ls, that's a bash command. That means list files in this directory. So I'm going to use Vim as my text editor. I'm going to make a program. I'm going to call it calculator.js. Okay, there's calculator.js. Now I'm going to do a screen split. So I can go back and forth between my Vim program and my split screen. And let's see, how to code, that's the folder where I put this little program in. So I got this program called calculator.js, and the first thing I'm going to do is console.log and say, welcome to calculator.js. Nice. Okay, and then you can see when I do :w exclamation point, I am saving the file. So you don't have to learn how to use Vim. You can use any text editor. But this is what I'm using, and you can see on my other screen, this is where I run the code. So I have, if I type ls, you see now there's a file called calculator.js right there. I can just say node to run. Node is like the JavaScript compiler, so it's the program that runs this JavaScript code. So I'm going to say node calculator.js. Boom! I say it. It says welcome to calculator.js. And voila, we're in. Okay, so let's do some basic calculator related stuff just to show you, how to code really fast with JavaScript. So I'm going to make a constant. I'm going to say x equals 5. And then I'm going to say const y equals 10. Now I'm going to console.log x times y. I'm going to say x times y. So calculation example. So this thing with the single quotes, this is a string. This is what I'm going to say. And then this thing right here, the comma separates the string, the initial string that I'm displaying with this other thing that I'm going to display. So what I'm going to display here is x times y, which is a calculation. And then it should give us 50. So x times y equals 50. Right. Okay, cool. And now what we can do is we can say x plus y. Okay, good. So we have x times y, x plus y. And now we have z. And we'll do z equals x plus 2 times y plus 5. And z is, and then we'll say z. So it's just basic JavaScript writing calculations and doing stuff, right? So this is a program. You can see this thing, this const is a variable, and this const z is using previous variables to create the final result. Now, another thing you can do is you can do variables with strings, right? So a string is just a bunch of text, right? So we'll say string 1 equals hello, and string 2 equals world, and string 3 equals string 1 plus string 2. So just like how we were doing above, for numbers we can do so we're going to say string 1, we're going to display that. String 2, we're going to display that. String 3 is right here. Okay, so now let's run that. Okay, so string 1 is hello, string 2 is world, string 3 is hello world. So you can see, just like with with numbers, you can do the same thing with strings. And so this is classic JavaScript, but in the newer versions of JavaScript, there's these really cool things called templates. So you can say my template equals, and then you can use your backticks to make your string, and you can say string 1 equals. So now I have a string called my template, and it says string 1 equals, and then just string 1, just some value, right? So now I can console.log my template equals my template. So you can say down here, my template equals string 1 equals hello, right? So this is just useful for when you want to do stuff like this. You want to like construct a string out of multiple strings. In here, I'll remove this part that says my template. I'm also going to comment this out up above. Commenting out just says you can't, just says don't run that code. So yeah, if I run this again, you see hello world. You can see that there's an extra space in there because I have string 1 and then a space and then string 2, but you can see string 1 already has a space. So in fact, what I should do is more like this, hello world. Boom. Okay, now that looks good, right? So that's your basics of just writing a simple program that calculates an addition or a multiplication of things, and it's some of the basic syntax of JavaScript, how it works. You do have these things. This is one way you can comment something out, is by starting a line with the double slashes, and you can see it's probably going to give me an error, because if I comment this out, it's like it doesn't exist. And then so on this next line, when we're trying to log my template, it's giving me an error because my template isn't a variable. It doesn't exist. One more thing that's worth discussing is we can remove these, and we can talk about the let keyword. So you can see, let's use let. So if I say let z equals x plus 2, okay, so x is 5, so z should equal 7. So I say console.log z equals z, and I'm gonna paste a couple lines of that. So what I can do is I can modify z, because I declared it with the let keyword, so now it's modifiable. So I can say z equals z plus 2, z equals z plus 2, z equals z times 2, z equals z minus 10, right? So you can see I'm modifying z as every line, because the interpreter of the program goes line by line. So it sees this line, it calculates it, logs it, sees this line, calculates that, does a log, and it just goes line by line. That's how computers work. So you can see now that as Node.js runs this file, it's constantly updating the value of z, right? 7, 9, 11, 22, 12, right? So that's just an example of a variable that can be modified, and you declare those with the let keyword. So this is just a little bit of basic JS. The next step would be learning how functions work. We can go into that later. Well, that's everything. I hope that was helpful for some of you, and we'll keep going.